I mean, I think it's a really special movie, and I don't know if it's a comedy or a drama, but that's what I love about it. You know, as far as the Academy goes, I wouldn't know. I don't, you know, I don't know what they want, but I don't know. I think it's a really special movie, and I sort of really like that it is not defined one way or the other.
Do you think your character is very protected at the beginning? It's all about business, and then she opens up, or how do you see her?
Yeah, I think she's incredibly poised, or she's worked very hard to look incredibly poised, even though she's not. And when we meet her, you know, we see her whole world sort of go out of balance, and she starts to slowly kind of go downhill. And yeah, I mean, she tries so hard to keep it together in this movie, and I think as things fall apart, she tries even harder and harder. You know, she's like clings to these, you know, if her ponytail can be a little bit tighter and, you know, her laptop's a little straighter, maybe her whole life won't fall apart, and then, you know, obviously that kind of backfires.
Did all these little details, like the ponytail, you know, the outfits she wears, the high heels, those things help you to
Yeah, absolutely.
who you were at the time?
Yeah, it's funny, you know, I was so sort of perfectly put together in this film, and on the days where I would have like one hair out of place because I'm like starting to fall apart, I would feel completely vulnerable as Natalie, you know, like that her perfect world is falling apart, and it absolutely helped the performance to be kind of strapped into these suits and ponytails.
Also, she's introducing herself in a world that is, in general, a boys' club. So I think she has it tougher.
Yeah.
Can you comment on that?
Yeah, I think that's absolutely right. I think she wants to be one of the boys and wants to prove that she can kind of swim with sharks. And I think there's a great frustration for her in being female and not being taken seriously. And she, you know, is trying to conquer this corporate world to prove herself.
Would you say the film analyzes the economic crisis that we're going through and how it's affecting at a human level?
I mean, I think that the movie takes place in the economy that we're in. You know, it takes place in the world that we're living in. But I don't think that it's really about the economy at all. You know, it's about you know, the idea of finding purpose, and you know, it just happens to take place in a time that we happen to be in.
And from all the things you could have done, why did you choose acting?
I don't know. As long as I can remember, since I was like a little girl, I wanted to be on stage. I wanted to perform, and I think it helps me kind of exercise a lot of what I don't understand about human nature and the way that we treat each other.
What was the impact of the attention that your work got at the Sundance Film Festival?
The Sundance Film Festival, like with Rocket Science?
Yeah.
Well, Jason wrote this role for me because of Rocket Science. Actually, Catherine Hardwicke cast me in Twilight, and she saw Rocket Science. She was on the jury at the Sundance Film Festival. Jason wrote this role for me after seeing Rocket Science, and Edgar Wright, who directed Scott Pilgrim, first saw me in Rocket Science and asked to meet with me because of that film. So I kind of contribute everything up until this point to that film.
So how important is it for you to be eclectic professionally, chameleonic? You know,
I want to. I know that I'm.
Character, like, are you freaking out with your hair like this or not?
I know. I'm trying to look different. I'm really drawn to strong female characters, almost to a fault. You know, I certainly don't want to always play that character, but I love them so much, and they let me do things that I don't get to do in my real life, and say things that I wouldn't get to say. And but I really like vulnerable characters too. I feel, you know, even more protective of them in a way.
Natalie says that if she had so many miles accumulated, she would fly somewhere in the world and have a great time. Where would you like to go?
I want to go home. I miss my family. I haven't seen them in so long. I would go to Maine and watch football with my dad.
And is it difficult to find good parts for actresses your generation?
Yeah, absolutely. I think I have to say how incredibly unique and rare a role like this is. I can tell you that there are a lot of screenplays where it's there's not much for the girl to do except stand there and try to look pretty. And this is so juicy and so meaty, and I completely appreciate how rare it is, and I'm so grateful to Jason for writing it.
And George Clooney, I mean, he's a delight to watch, and he's a very charming person, I think.
Yes, he is. Yeah, he's just as charming in real life. I'm pleased to report. He's everything that you'd want him to be, I promise.
So I'm doing part of this interview for a colleague who's doing it from Brazil, but she couldn't come.
Okay.
And she always asks, what do you think of Brazil? And so could you tell me, do you think of
Yeah,
Brazil?
well, Brazil, I mean, I suppose I wouldn't have many thoughts on Brazil, but I recently got on Twitter. And like half the people that follow me are from Brazil, and they send me messages that say, come to Brazil, you know, love you from Brazil, kisses from Brazil. And I was like, they love Twilight and they love Twitter in Brazil, so I feel like I have to make a trip to Brazil.
And how do you see your future professionally? You're going to keep working or going to Maine and relax? Or?
No, I want to keep working. I'm really, truly happiest when I'm on a film set. This is like good fun, and you know, they do my hair, and you know, that's nice and everything, but I would so much rather be on a film set.
What's the most difficult aspect of this business or job that you've chosen?
I mean, there's a daily rejection factor. You know, it's you know, a lot of people have been asking me if I've ever been fired, you know, and I haven't, but you get rejected like on, you know, almost a daily basis. And it's difficult, and I have to say it really doesn't get any easier. It's like you get a little used to it, and you maybe get a little numb, but it doesn't get easy.
But the rejection, what do you have to do not to take it personally and think that there's something wrong with you?
You know, if I figure that out, I'll tell you. I certainly don't pretend to be, you know, completely okay with losing jobs. You know, you find a role that you want and that you love, and, you know, seeing it executed by somebody else, even when it's executed well, it makes you very jealous.